Jai Shri Radhe, Sab Vaishnavan ko Jai Shri Krishna, Aaj ke Anand ki Jai. In the readings of the 252 Vaishnava disciples of Sri Gosaiji biographies, Varta 68 is the story of two renunciates, one with very special and one with ordinary Vaishnava qualities, who lived together. Day 91, Varta 68. Bhav Prakash. The Tadrashi devotee is a devotee of sattvic disposition. In the eternal Leela, his name is Kunjadevi, who manifests from Harini and is thus a form of her divine loving sentiment. Kunjadevi has one companion named Gunjadevi, who has reddish appearance like the fruit of a Gunja vine. She answers to Sri Chandrabaliji. The Tadrashi Vaishnava was born into a family of Brahmins in a village in Gujarat. From his very childhood, he liked to be in the company of religious mendicants and renunciates. He also began to wander around like one of them. His parents forbade him to be like this, saying, "It may be okay now, but how will we ever get to marry you off? What will our caste people say? Therefore, please wear some decent clothes and keep the company of good men." The son replied, "I was a renunciate in my previous birth. Please do not waste your time being affectionate to me. I am not ever going to get married. Anyone who likes me will surely soon die. This is my confirmed opinion." He told everyone this. The parents did not even speak to him, thinking, "This is what fate has written." In this day, when the boy got to be 16 years old, In this way, the boy got to be 16 years old. Then one day, a Vaishnava of a lawful devotional path came to that village. The boy approached and said, "I wish to go on a pilgrimage. Please take me with you." That Vaishnava replied, "I am already on a pilgrimage. I want to visit the 4 main holy places. Come with me if you want to." The boy left without his parents knowing. The next day, the parents realized that he had gone, and they searched all over for him, but they did not find him. They sat down in silence. The boy and the Vaishnava reached Dwarka. They had the holy site of Sri Ranchor Lalji. They stayed there a few days and then travelled on to Badrikashram. After that day, they came to Mataji. The two of them took a bath in Sri Yamunaji river. The boy was very impressed by the beauty of Mataji and decided to stay there for a few days, after which he would go to Gokul and Vrindavan and then back to Badrikashram. The devotee of the lawful path told him that he was going to set off for Badrikashram, and the boy told him that he intended to stay in Mathura for some more time. "Go if you wish," he said, and that Vaishnava set off for Badrikashram. The boy stayed in Mathura and had the holy site of Sri Kishori every day. After that, he went round all the holy sites and then to Gokul, but he first of all came to Ravul. By divine arrangement, Sri Gosaiji had also just arrived in Ravul for a few days. Sri Gosaiji went to the banks of Sri Yamuna to perform his prayers. The boy caught sight of him and stared at him without blinking. He could not speak and said nothing to nobody. He stared like that for nearly half an hour. He saw Sri Gosaiji's true form. Then Sri Gosaiji called out to him, "Oh boy, when did you arrive?" The boy piped up, "Oh great Maharaj, I have been here for some days, but I have only today arrived at your lotus feet. Only today is my purpose fulfilled. Please now bless me by accepting me as your disciple. Otherwise, who knows what might happen? There can be no reliance on the body, and the mind is always restless. One cannot even know what will happen after 1 hour. Please therefore accept me quickly, bless me thus." Seeing his longing, Sri Gosaiji told him to go to bathe in the Sri Yamunaji river, and when he returned, Sri Gosaiji initiated him with the Lord's name and Brahma Sambandh. The boy then asked Sri Gosaiji to instruct him as to what to do, and Sri Gosaiji told him to study daily Sri Acharyaji's Sannyasa Nirnay treatise Conclusions on Renunciation. From this you will understand what this path is all about. Don't keep company with anyone else. Do not stay in one place. Always be engaged in a heartfelt savour of the divine beloveds. In this way, the Lord's pastimes will become clear to you. Sri Gosaiji took him with him to Gokul, and he had the holy site of all the 7 Sri Thakurjis and the 7 temples there. With Sri Gosaiji's permission, that Vaishnava then went to Sri Govardhan, then to Gopalpur, Jatipura, and had the holy site of Sri Govardhanaji. He felt most joyous. He circumambulated the whole of Vraj and then began to wander around Vraj. He did not stay in one place. He read the Sannyasa Nirnay every day studiously and remained absorbed mentally in the Lord's divine pastimes. In this way he became an elevated Vaishnava. After many more days he came back round to Gokul. At that time one more renunciate disciple of Sri Gosaiji had come there. He was an ordinary Vaishnava who very much wanted some satsang. The ordinary Vaishnava requested the elevated renunciate to employ him in some service so that he might benefit from his satsang. The elevated renunciate said, "Sri Gosaiji has instructed me to live alone, therefore I don't keep anyone with me." The ordinary renunciate approached Sri Gosaiji and said, "O great Maharaj, please grace me with a clear understanding of this path of grace. Sri Gosaiji advised him to seek the company of the elevated renunciate, but he replied that he had refused to have anyone in his company because of Sri Gosaiji's instructions to him. If you tell him to, he will have some satsang with me. Sri Gosaiji called the elevated renunciate to him and said, please keep that Vaishnava with you. According to Sri Gosaiji, with the elevated renunciate according to Sri Gosaiji's wish, the elevated renunciate kept the other ordinary renunciate close to him. They began to live together from that day forwards. In this way, with Sri Gosaiji's instructions, these two renunciates began to live together. The elevated renunciate allowed the ordinary one into his company, and they moved around together. At one time, they were travelling to Dwarkaji. They were in one place, and there they cooked and made their offerings to Sri Thakurji. After they had partaken of the prasad, the elevated renunciate said to the other one, "You go on, I am just coming." He went on ahead. At one spot, there were two paths to choose from. One took one path and found a village where he went to sleep. The other took the other path and found himself in another village where he sat down. At first, this ordinary renunciate felt a great pain of separation from the other. After this, in that very village, a prostitute was dancing. That Vaishnava went to sit and watch the dance. He became absorbed in it. He was so mesmerized that he forgot everything else. He sat there like that for 3 whole days. He watched the dancing all night and just sat there as if dazed all day. The elevated renunciate Vaishnava was going round and round searching for him. He thought, Sri Gosaiji handed him into my care, so I must make sure that he is all right. He arrived in that very village on the 4th day and saw that the other Vaishnava was sitting there all night, locked into thoughts of the prostitute. He called out to him, but he failed to answer. He grabbed him and tried to pull him. Still, he was not aware of what was happening. He still did not reply when spoken to. He was behaving like a crazy person and could not speak. The elevated renunciate Vaishnava was most perturbed, wondering what answer he could give to Sri Gosaiji. He invited him to partake of some Mahaprasad. Still, he said nothing. At that moment, through the Lord's design, a wind blew up and some dust from the elevated Vaishnava's foot flew into the other's mouth. Then the elevated Vaishnava gave him some water to drink. The dust went down into his stomach. He immediately began to vomit. Blue, yellow, and black water exited from his body, which had been the causes of his disease. His internal body became purified. He could speak after this and told his story. The two of them then left that place. However, they did not understand what had really happened. The two of them gradually wended their way back to Gokul. They went to have the sight of Sri Gosaiji. The elevated renunciate then inquired of Sri Gosaiji, "O Maharaj, one day we got separated and he lost his way. He sat in a village watching a prostitute's dance. He got totally mentally absorbed in it. He forgot his body. I searched and searched for him, but it took me 4 days to find him. He was watching the dance and I called him, but he didn't hear me. He gave no answer. So I grabbed him and pulled him outside. Still he did not come back to his senses. I was worried about him. At that moment a wind blew up. I gave him some water to drink and he straight away vomited. Blue, yellow and black water came out. The water was stinking. I got him to rinse out his mouth and he regained some sense. He told me what had happened and I listened, but I did not truly understand." So, suspense. We're going to conclude the story here and continue tomorrow. And Sab Vaishnavan ko Sadaro sa Prem. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Radhe, Aaj ke Anand ki Jai, Shri Gosaiji ki Jai ho.